The world of mixed martial arts has lost one of its most fearless, beloved, and unforgettable fighters. Matt Brown, the Ohio-born warrior known as the Immortal, has passed away at the age of 43. His death sends a shockwave through the UFC, through the MMA community, and through the hearts of millions of fans who grew up watching him step into the octagon, eyes locked on the fight, heart open to the moment. There was no dramatic final press conference, no long goodbyes, no final interview where he explained what had happened. Just the quiet, devastating realization that the man who always seemed untouchable, who always seemed to rise from the ashes of every loss, is gone much sooner than anyone expected. Matt Brown was not a fighter who came into the sport with a polished resume or a perfect record. He came in with something far more powerful. A relentless fire that burned in his chest, a refusal to stay down, and a willingness to walk straight into the fire instead of running from it. He was the kind of fighter who made people believe that comebacks were real, that heart could overcome odds, and that the fight never truly ended until the final bell. Fans didn't just watch Matt Brown, they felt him. They felt the way he crashed into his opponents, the way he took punches that would have knocked most men out, and the way he kept coming forward, even when his body was screaming for him to stop. That was who he was, and that was why he was called the Immortal. His career spanned more than 2 decades, from his early days in regional promotions to his rise as one of the most exciting welterweights in UFC history. He fought some of the biggest names in the division, including fighters like Diego Sanchez, Damian Maia, Jorge Masvidal, and Robbie Lawler. He didn't always win, but he always gave everything. He was known for his brutal knockout power, his iron chin, and his ability to take a fight to the edge and then push past it. There were nights when he was knocked down, knocked out, and looked like he was done. And then there were nights when he came back from the brink to deliver one of the most unforgettable finishes in UFC history. Matt Brown didn't just fight. He performed, he entertained, and he made every fight feel like a story worth telling. But what made Matt Brown truly special was not just his fighting style. It was his spirit. He was the kind of fighter who would stay after a fight to talk to fans, to sign autographs, to take pictures, and to make sure everyone who came to watch felt like they mattered. He was the kind of person who would help a young fighter in the locker room, who would give advice to someone just starting out, and who would never let the ego of the sport get in the way of the humanity beneath it. He was a husband, a father, a friend, and a brother to so many people in the MMA community. He was the kind of person who made the sport feel like family, and now that family feels a little smaller. The exact cause of Matt Brown's death has not been publicly disclosed, and for now, that detail remains respectfully private, shielded by his family and the people closest to him. What is clear, however, is the impact of his passing. The UFC has released statements honoring his legacy. Former teammates and rivals have shared memories of the times he pushed them to be better, and fans around the world have flooded social media with tributes, photos, and stories of the fights that changed their lives. Some remember the night he knocked out Diego Sanchez with a brutal flurry. Others remember the time he came back from a knockout loss to win his next fight. But most remember the way he made them feel when they watched him fight. Like anything was possible, like heart could overcome everything, and like the fight never truly ended as long as you kept standing. For fans, Matt Brown's legacy will live on in the replays, the highlight reels, and the quiet moments when they remember the sound of his footstep in the octagon, the look in his eyes before the fight, and the way he would raise his arms after a victory, even when the victory was hard-earned. He wasn't the kind of fighter who needed to be the most decorated or the most famous to be remembered. He was the kind of fighter who made people feel that they were part of something bigger than themselves, that the sport was more than just competition, more than just violence, more than just winning. He made them feel that they were part of a family, and that family now feels a little smaller. If you've ever felt the thrill of watching a fight, if you've ever admired the courage it takes to step into the octagon and face your fears, or if you've ever been moved by the story of a fighter who lived for the love of the game, take a moment to honor Matt Brown's memory. Please like this video, and if you enjoy stories about the lives, legacies, and losses of the athletes who shape our sports, consider subscribing to this channel. Together, we can coup.